Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say. As of June 18, 2025, Benue State in Nigeria is grappling with a severe security crisis marked by a recent massacre in Yelewate village, Guma local government area. Between June 13 and 14, gunmen had attacked the village, resulting in the death of at least 200 individuals, including displaced persons who had gone to seek refuge in that area. Survivors reported that many victims were burned alive in their homes, and the attackers set ablaze the market where displaced families had taken shelter. It's another episode on your favorite primetime show, Ways. My name is Osayua Mesale, and today we're discussing Benue State killings, insecurity, and of course, the looming food crisis. Please remember that Ways is all about you. You are the why in Ways, so be a part of the conversation every single day. You can also add your voice to the discussion. You can also head onto our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and join the show right now. When I open the phone lines, I'd really love to hear from people that are in Benue State or you are around that environs. You know, let's hear your thoughts on this topic. As always, let me allow you to ponder on this quote. And it was said by our president. He says, "We cannot do without one another. I propose we immediately form a leadership committee to convene in Abuja and develop a strategy for lasting peace. I am prepared to invest in that peace." And this was from our president. Yes, we'll delve into this conversation in a very short while, but first, let me run off on a break and just quickly come back to let you in on my news interest for the day. Stay with me. I'll start the news interest with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that has directed Nigeria's security agencies to urgently apprehend the perpetrators of the recent massacre in Yelewate, Benue State, which left at least 200 people dead, according to survivors. Now, the assailants, believed to be herders, stormed the community on Friday night, opening fire on sleeping villagers and setting their homes ablaze. Many victims had previously fled violence in other regions and were taking shelter in a local market, which was also destroyed in the attack. In response to the escalating violence, President Tinubu condemned the senseless bloodletting and pledged decisive action. He ordered a comprehensive overhaul of national security strategies and directed security agencies to act decisively, arrest perpetrators of this evil, and act on all sides of the conflict and prosecute them. The president also planned, as you all know, that the planned visit also happened, so that he could assess the stuff, the killings and the affected communities firsthand. All right, so, joining me to discuss this conversation, because I'm not going to do this alone. It's quite a special episode, right? To shed more light on the events that is going on currently in Benue State is Ukan Kuru, right? He's a human and gender rights activist, and he is currently in Benue State. Thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening.
All right. First of all, I'd like to send my condolences to, everyone, that has been affected by this very, needless crime, right, in Benue State. It's actually very disheartening to see what is going on in our country. And, what was even a lot more prominent was the deafening silence until people started crying out on social media that we started seeing certain kinds of action. But let me just hear your overall assessment of the current events happening in Benue State.
When you say overall assessment, what precisely do you mean? I want to grab something to start with.
There are so many theories right now, right? Some have said that it is herder clash, with the villagers. Some have said that it is, they've said all sorts of things, but I saw a video where the traditional ruler was talking about this is just an outright trying to take away our land and trying to displace us from our state, right? So in your own assessment, the reason I'm asking is what is the true situation as to the root cause of this violence that is happening in Benue State?
Okay, I think I get your question correctly right now. I need to emphasize. First and foremost, let me disabuse your own mind, and let me disabuse the mind of every other person as well, especially paper houses and news channels and rooms, because it is because we've continuously driven this narrative of farmer herders clashes. There is nothing as farmer herders clash. I always want to make this categorically clear. We do not clash with anybody. We are peasant farmers. I have said this more than like the obtained time. We are peasant farmers. We farm for survival. We farm to feed our family. We farm to feed the nation. That is why we are known as the food basket of the nation. What is happening to the Benue people are unprovoked attacks from some group of persons or people who feel they have the superior power to take and grab ancestral lands of our people. And who am I referring to? I am referring to no other group of people than the Fulani terrorist Maruda herdsmen. Let me call it in full, herdsmen. Now, they've made life very miserable and unbearable in the last 16 or 19 years for my people. Like, let me quote what the Totif, my paramount ruler, our paramount ruler said. He said, what we are dealing with in Benue State is a calculated and well-planned, full-scale genocidal invasion and land-grabbing campaign by herders, terrorists, and bandits. I don't know whether I need to add up to anything here. These guys have not told us what they are actually looking for. Though some of us know there's an agenda. Sometimes I don't want to say this in the public glare or light, but it's an agenda. However, even if it was a sacrifice to please the gods, we have sacrificed enough. Unprovoked attacks leading to the loss of lives. What do these people want? I don't know. We don't know. It's better to even know why somebody is fighting you so that you can adjust your way of life. So that you can adjust whatever you want to adjust to please the person so that you get peace. But we don't even know what they want. So is this happening? The killings in Yelwata, nobody saw it coming. Yelwata is a very fertile ground, and it's a settlement just after the toll gate, just briefly, just meters away after the state capital. These guys came, killed, burns people alive. You have videos, you've seen the pictures where a woman who is carrying a baby of just say 6 months or 9 months or 1 year behind her back was burnt. In that position, you still see them lying in that position, and their ashes in that particular position at the water. So, and let's not just put it down to Yelwata alone. There have been attacks, very severe and massive attacks in places like Agatu, in Oju, in Ogbadibo, in Goma, in Kwande, in Katsina Ala, Logo, you can name it. And once these people come to attack and dislodge people, they start settling there. They turn those places to settlements. Not like it's the attackers that settle there. These herdsmen, the ones who move around with cows, now begin to settle and start building. So what else if it's not land grabbing?
So, where did the theory of the farmer-herder clash, where did it even originate from? Because it's important that when we're trying to dissect this thing, right, if we're able to trace it down to the root cause, then we're able to find, you know, a headway. Because you said something very interesting. You said, till now, you don't know why this is happening, right? It's possible that the people that are fueling the narrative of farmer-herder clash, do you understand? They have clarity as to why they want to guise all the things that is happening. I mean, you said it's unprovoked attack, land grabbers, you know, and this is perpetrated by Fulani terrorists, Manguru herders. That's what you've said. But some other people
Marudas, Fulani
Marungas,
terrorists,
yes,
Maruda.
yeah. Some other people have tried to couch all of this, right, that you have just said, under the guise of farmer-herder clash. So why is that so, and where did that narrative even stem from?
You see, politicians are playing politics with people's lives. You know, politicians are playing politics with people's lives. The governor of Nasarawa said something. He said, when he came to Benue, he said he came to condone with the people of Benue State over the unprovoked attack by some criminals. No. Why are we hiding these facts? Why are we saying this? Which criminals? You think the governor of Nasarawa State does not know that these people are Fulani herdsmen? Because they want to change the narrative? Everybody knows, even my president knows for a fact the people who are doing this. But you don't expect him to come all out. He's the number one person, is our president, our father. If he says this, maybe he might just be angering another tribe. People have constantly told me, UK, you are profiling tribes, and it's not right. So should I hide the truth? We have survivors in the hospital who have told us how these guys come, what they wear, how they dress, what they speak, why they're killing, what they say. We have tapes, we have recordings. The leaders of these herdsmen, or the leaders of this organization called Mieti Allah, have constantly come on national TV. They've been on channels during the last administration of Otom. They've agreed that yes, we carried out this attack. Why? Because your people rustled our cows. We carried out this attack because like this. The narratives are out there. Why are we playing with it? The politicians are the ones, in fact, the leadership of this country are the ones making this thing look like it's just something simple. That's why you hear people just say bandits, criminals. No, let's call these people by their name. These guys are terrorists. What is happening in Benue State is genocidal. At what point are we going to say, look, we have lost lives? Look, I've seen critical pictures. I've not been able to find sleep in the last 5 days. I've seen pictures of a baby of 2 years macheted, and you know, the deep cut. I've seen children's intestine pulled out of their stomach. I've seen a pregnant woman slaughtered, fetus removed and dumped beside her. At what point are we going to tell the world the truth? We're allowing the Vatican speak for us. The Vatican that is far, how many hours away from us? How many days away from us? Speak for us. Tell the world the truth. What's managing the truth in Nigeria? No, enough is enough. If we want to find lasting peace to whatever is happening here, let's tell ourselves the truth. We are all going to die. Nobody's going to go to heaven or hell directly from here. Why are we wasting our time? For me, I'll follow the words of Dino Milai. If you talk, you die. If you don't talk, you die. So I'll prefer to talk and die.
You know, this is quite disturbing. But I wanted to ask, what is your genuine review on the incident that happened today? First of all, I saw the letter yesterday. I was, you know, when you are riled up in your spirit, I felt anger inside of me when I saw the letter that was, you know, going to announce the preparation for the president's visit. Then what then even worsened it today was the fact that, you know, children were lined up in the rain, you know, and people were given, what's it called, APC flags. This is supposed to be a time to mourn, a time to, you know, console the people that have lost their loved ones. And yet I saw a hall, you know, with one of those very expensive luxury chairs that they normally import when you have the high-profile events and all of that. A hall that was fully decorated and that was waiting for the president. And I thought to myself, how insensitive is this? Until I then saw, would I call it a bit of riot and tear gassing of people, you know, just enraged and going on the street and, you know, protesting, you know, and all of that. So in your assessment, right, first of all, the president's visit, what is your assessment, your review on that visit? And do you think that visit made any difference?
Okay, let me quickly correct an impression. I'm not speaking for the government, but I know that for a fact. The governor had frowned at anybody who organized any fun or fanfare for the coming of the president. When those pictures of those kids, when a statement from one of his appointees that people should dress in a certain way to welcome the president, it was condemned immediately, and the guy was cautioned. He came back and made an apology, and there was no form of fanfare by any state government official. Some people are just carried away. I know it was so insensitive seeing kids in the rain. I can tell you for a fact, nobody was happy with that, and I'm sure the government is going to penalize that school, the principal or the headmaster or headmistress who had organized that, because nobody had directed anybody to do such. We're in a money mood. That's one. Number two, what you saw in the hall, I can't say about that because this is the president that is coming to Benue. I don't know how the protocol operates, you know, so I can't speak so much about that. But you are asking me, what is the general view of the president coming to Benue? Well, it's a welcome development. And let me say it, that this is the first time we're in a crisis situation and the president actually visited us, genuinely just say, this is why he's coming at the shortest notice, because we all know that the president was supposed to be in Kaduna. In as much as we appreciate his coming to hear firsthand of what happened in not just Yelwata, but some parts of Benue, almost more than 22 local governments so far, we are hopeful. He made some pronouncements, directed the security agencies to fish out the leaders of this group, and he also talked about forming a committee that would dialogue, you know, saying that. Hold on, let me land. Or a committee that involves all former governors to meet up in Abuja and see how they can find a solution to this. For me, if you ask me my own opinion, I was not too impressed with my president's outing today. I as a person, I was not too impressed. And in fact, I was frowning because his last statement got me because he made a pronouncement. I wouldn't want to say much about that because he has made that pronouncement. So let's give him 2 weeks or a month. If these marauders don't attack again, or if we see what the armed forces or the security agencies will do, then we will know that action is in place and the workings are in top gear. But for now, I don't want to say much. He has said it, so we will follow up and see.
So, but you know that apart from those children that were in the rain, there were flags of, what's it called, the president's political party that was being paraded all over the place, right? So even
Whether
if you
you like it,
say... So let me
whether
land
you
as
like
well.
it or
Can you
not,
also let me land?
go ahead.
So
Go ahead, please.
even if you say that it was not a fanfare, right? There has been a lot of accusation that this particular incident, this particular outing, seemed like it was more a political campaign than an actual, coming to just say, you know what, I understand what is going on and I actually want to be there, to allay the fears of people and to really put a strong, stance against, the killings and all of that. So if you say it wasn't a fanfare, why did we even have to start to see people trying to tear off APC flags and all of that?
Okay, now let me repeat it again. There are psychophants everywhere. There's something a thief man says that meaning when we are crying, we still eat. You still find food to eat. No matter how you make this pronouncement, there are some people that will still want to justify that. Oh, wow, the president is here. We need to show the president, in spite of these killings, we still love him, we still support him. I found at it. I was not impressed. I saw one of my friends who was waving a flag when I was driving into government house because I was one among the critical stakeholders that was in the hall, who was supposed to be in the hall. So while I was on the check, I saw him with the flag, and I said to myself, are you serious right now? Like, with everything that's happened, you're flying the flag to impress who? To do what? At some point, it looked like there was going to be a clash between the people who carried placards showing their displeasure over the killings, so that the president would see, and people who carried leaves, and the people who were flying the flags. It felt like there was going to be some big fights outside of the government house. So you see, there were people who were genuinely not happy about everything that happened, even with the fact that the president came to condone with us. There were people who were still not happy because they felt he came out of pressure. They felt he came because we said so much, and pictures were flying everywhere about the bodies of these children, which were, some of us are more concerned. What is the sins of these kids that they were butchered that much? Now let me read something to you at the same time. My king at the same time said, Mr. President, some politicians in Benue are playing politics with the terrorist attack instead of joining hands together to fight it. Some are happy and are praying for more people to be killed so that you will declare a state of emergency in Benue. Such politicians do not represent the interests and wishes of the Benue people. Now you understand why some are crying, some are wanting a state of emergency
But
to be declared.
shouldn't we actually
this is a quote from my traditional king.
Yeah, but shouldn't we actually declare a state of emergency? So I have lived in Kaduna. I was born and buttered, and I grew up in Kaduna. And so all through those years where we had the Sharia crisis and all those crises and all of that, I mean, it was a no-brainer. There was state of emergency, there were curfews that were declared and all of that, at least to some extent, to control the movement so that more people would not be killed. Do you get my point? I mean, if we are actually looking at what a state of emergency in its real definition is, Benue State should be declared. There should be a state of emergency declared in Benue State. Because, I mean, how do you sleep and that 200 people were unalived and, it seems like everything, it doesn't... You know what? Let's even move away from that. In your own assessment, right, how effective has the security agencies been in even trying to prevent attacks, or even, okay, the attack is already happening, to calm the tension or to diffuse, the attackers? How effective have they been in all of these things?
Let me first and foremost say kudos to men of the Nigerian army. You know that you should not even call this a guerrilla warfare. This is not like the kind of warfare or the kind of crisis me and you know. These guys, no matter how the army tries to beat the ways of these attackers, they always have ways to fumble around. Now, let me tell you what happened in Guma before your water. Before the attack, they had pulled a stunt in a place called Daudu, where they made people run helter-skelter, and before you would say Jack, they were already attacking Yelwata. In that process, two military men, two personnel of the Nigerian army were killed, one civil defense officer. So these guys have a way around this. I am not saying the military is not, like I said, I'm giving kudos to the military, but let me tell you, it's not easy for anybody, not even the police, not even the military, not even the other agencies as well. I cannot categorically write them off, but I can only say they need to do more. They need to do extra more. For me, I have campaigned for setting up little, smaller barracks or smaller cantonments that we carry more personnel on a particular locality or in a particular village.
It's interesting.
So that we can...
Go ahead, please. Land your point, please.
So that we can curtail these killings. These guys have their own tactics. No matter what you do, they have their own tactics. So the army can always try to curb their tactics, and we know it. The army have different ways of dealing with these people. They are trying their best. But I think they need to do more. They need to do extra more, not even more. Information dissemination should be something that must be taken very serious. But at this point, even the villagers are aggrieved with the army that when there's an attack and they call them, they don't get to the point of rescue on time. So if this, information dissemination is not too good with the two sides, with the Nigerian army, with the villagers, it's not too good. But thank God, the chief of army staff have said he's putting up, he's going to train some locals for information networking and vigilantes and how he put it. So I think that will bring a bit of succor, if not total, but at least let the killing stop. However, let it be reduced to the barest minimum.
Okay. I just wanted to remind, because I took this story yesterday, I just want us to remind ourselves that the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, he alleged the presence of saboteurs within the Nigerian military, he also implicating them in this Yelwata massacre in Benue State, that claimed over 200 lives. He was speaking when he visited Yelwata to assess the destruction that was caused, by those attackers. He disclosed that some military personnel have been betraying the army by leaking vital information to these bandits. He also pointed out that the targeted nature of the killings suggests insider involvement. So I say this to say that, whatever it is that is going on, it seems like there is no genuity in fighting these criminals, these bandits. I said this quote yesterday, and I will continue to repeat it for as long as I live. It was Sani Abacha that said that if insurgency lasts beyond 24 hours, right, it means that, the government is involved. They have a hand in it, So because this amount of destruction, this amount of, calamity that has befallen the people of Yelwata in Benue State cannot happen if somebody did not decide to look away, right? But something also happened because your governor had said that I think he was resolving to set up, vigilante group. What is your overall thoughts on, the role of vigilante groups and how they interact with the formal security forces? Have they been effective? Because in the end, I saw a lot of people going to say, we're going to defend ourselves. We saw some videos of them chasing away the cattle away from their villages and all of that. Has that been effective, the vigilantes stepping in, to protect their territory?
Okay, before I answer that, let me take you back towards a bit. There was the time the governor visited a place, a settlement that was affected by the crisis. And guess what the people were chanting? We do not want military men in this village again. They are part of these people killing us. They are the ones sending information out to these killers. They are betraying us, so we don't want them any longer. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because even in a family of the rich, or even in the family of the poor, however I want to put it. There are betrayals within. So I want to agree with the Chief of Army Staff that the sure might be, or the sure are betrayals within the army. And sometimes this thing happen as a result of maybe not the kind of treatment you give these people. You can't send a military personnel to a place and you are paying the person below, or the person is not getting maybe allowances, or is not feeding very well, and then somebody comes to say, "Look, let me give you so amount." You know how these things work. I was watching a documentary on channels that was like 2 years ago in Maiduguri, where some guys were saying, not channels, Al Jazeera. Some guys were saying that Boko Haram paid them as high as 150,000 naira to go and survey an environment, survey a place for them to attack, and they willingly collect this. What causes that is poverty. Now, you're asking me, how is the collaboration between the vigilantes and the Nigerian army? Well, the collaboration is okay, but can it be overly enough? My question is no. Because sometimes there are disagreements within these two parties. The vigilante will feel that they know this terrain so much. The army will feel that they are trained to handle this. And even the vigilantes, you cannot rule them off from being accomplices in this crisis as well. So it's just a two-way thing.
So there's something that I saw when I was doing a research, because you see me, I want to go back to that initial question that I asked. I said, see, what exactly is in it? Because you see, when something is happening repeatedly, I mean, let's not take away our eyes from the root of it. There are mineral resources that Benue State is blessed with. And we've also heard different reports that in other parts of Nigeria, northern Nigeria, where you see all of those bandits and terrorists, you understand, attacking and displacing the people from their lands, there is a mass siphoning or a mass stealing or whatever of the natural resources that those regions are blessed with. So I did a bit of research, and I saw that in Benue State we have limestone, gypsum, barite, kaolin, lead, and zinc. Those are like very core, and these, especially limestone and barite, they are very big within the mining and industrial sector. So is there any possibility that all of these land grabbing, the attacks, and the senseless killing that has been going on in Benue State, is it possible that we can actually say that it might be linked to the resources that Benue State is blessed with? Then afterwards, we will then move on to how this is affecting food security in Nigeria.
Which state is not blessed with mineral resources? Every state is blessed with mineral resources. Sometimes you hear narratives like the grass in Benue is greener, is richer for their cows, for their cattle. That's why they prefer to graze here. As they are grazing, the river is not far from. But seriously, do you think it's all about that? This is systematic land grabbing. This is an agenda I don't want to say it, but it's an agenda. I don't want to say it on air, but it's an agenda.
An agenda to do what? Why do they need? So why do they need the people of Benue out of their land? What would they benefit from it? I'm trying to understand it.
It's not just Benue. I don't know if you followed the issue of the late Ghana, the most wanted man in Nigeria at that time. What did Ghana say? Ghana said he was trained by these people, and they asked him to annex Benue, Taraba, Plateau to form a caliphate. And when he said no, the money was too small. I think he asked for, was it 1 billion? He said the money was too much, and they fell apart. He said it. He said it categorically clear. You can go to YouTube, you watch it there. In as much as many people didn't believe at that time, it's playing out. It's playing out. Where do these attackers come from? They come. The former governor, Governor Otom, will always say they come from Lokobi and away in Nasarawa State. When they kill, they go back. There's a crossing there. Why have they not systematically stopped these people from that side of crossing? Who have tried to stop them before? From Taraba, they come from, is it from Takum or so? come and strike, and then go back again. And this has been happening for donkey years. What has been done so far to curtail the movement of these people from these places that a past governor, a former governor, 2 former governors have accused neighboring states? What have been done? These people still come from that place. Where do you think these attackers will come from? Coming to hit Yelwata. What's the nearest place? It's Nasarawa. What has Nasarawa done? What have they done so far to curb it? We have a tactical air command in Makudi. It's an Air Force base. We have a tactical air command in Makudi. It's an Air Force base. Maybe they have helicopters that can hover around this forest and find these guys. We have never seen one. But the day innocent Nigerians went out to show their displeasure to the world that we are tired of the killings, we saw over 3 to 4 helicopters hovering around the state capital alone. Where did those helicopters come from? The president has said he has signed a bill to start a new formation called the Forest Rangers. We're all happy so that these guys will not have a safe haven again in the forest. What is taking them time to let people apply for this? What is taking them time?
Kuru, when you say these things, I'm trying to be calm, but you see, talking tough, we have seen it over different leaders. Talking tough does not solve any problem in this country. What we need is action. But you know what? Let's go on a break because we have a few comments, and I think I'd like to open the phone lines as well. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, thanks for staying tuned. If you're just joining us, we're discussing Benue State killings. We're also discussing insecurity and food crisis that is already, looming here. Now, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Our phone lines are also open, 07025007749 or 07014242420. You can also send us a live message on our YouTube page. Would also love to hear what you have to say. So let me quickly read a few comments. Biafra Watch says, you people are not serious by celebrating a president that has nothing to offer your people. Deborah says, hello, Ways. It took that man how many days to visit Benue, then it turned into something else. No compassion from these leaders. Osa says, is alluding to Biafra Watch. He says, I be no lie. Shirlene Edwards says, I pray Nigeria votes for better on all levels. Stop voting for these type of people if they have no compassion for the well-being of the citizens. And I think this is a sentiment that is shared across many people. But I would love to touch on what is going on currently with, food security. Because last year we had one of the, she's a popular person on Instagram. She calls herself Onishu. She normally supplies the Benue yam, right? That's what her business is centered around. And I know how she was explaining, because we were touching on the price of food and how it had gone up. And she started explaining and breaking down how many people are not able to go to their farmlands just because of this crisis and this insecurity that is going on. So with these current attacks that have happened, right? What are we expecting in terms of, shortages and, this looming food crisis that is going on? Because Benue State, you are the food basket of our nation. You're the one feeding, us in Nigeria. So with all of these recent events now, how will this further impact the already struggling food safety, that we have in the country?
I served at Nexem Bank.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, you were muted for a bit. Go ahead, please.
When I was serving at Nexem Bank so many years ago in Abuja, I remember that when I'm coming for weekend, the head of HR will call me and say, "Look, UK, I need you to get me Benue yams, tomatoes, blah blah blah." She will give me like 150K. Then I'll call her and say, Mommy, I think I need to hire a pickup back to Abuja. She said, how do you mean? I said, just give me 50K. Let me hire a pickup all the way from Makodi to Abuja. I will send for these items at the bush market. And when I get to Abuja and take the pickup to her office, to the building of Nexim Bank, she'll ask me, what do you want me to do with this? Oh, no, this is too much. I can't do anything. This is way too much. You now start calling staff, come and carry yam, come and carry mango, come and carry orange, come and... What am I saying? The crisis has already gotten to us, and it has hit us so bad. There's a market in Boko called, is it Ubangaji? As of when Gariki fruit market was selling a basket of tomato for like 30 to 40,000 naira. In that market, they were selling a basket of tomato for as low as 8,000, 9,000, or even 10,000 naira. Full and big baskets. But right now, we can't even boast of that. We're not. You can no longer refer to us as the food basket of the nation. Maybe you can just say it because it's our theme or our slogan or something. But you can't refer to us like that any longer. The basket is bleeding seriously. Food crisis has hit everybody. Check the neighboring states around Benue. Who is doing a better yam than us today? Who is having better produce to bring to the market than us after, people have taken over. We are not there in the market any longer. Even if you see something good, it's coming from a particular local government that has still not been overrun by these terrorist headsmen. And it will be freaking expensive. Food is expensive right now in Makodi. Food is expensive. Come to Benue, or just not even Benue, go to Abuja, ask how much is one onion. And hear for yourself. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. If these people literally tell us what is their problem with us, we can sit down and say, okay, let's sort this thing out. Let all of us go back to our farms, go back to our ancestral homes, and let's know that we now have, we've come to an agreement that we will not cross this path, you will not cross this path. But we don't even know what they are up to. In a family of 6 or in a family of 3, if 3 people in one family go to the farm, I can rest assure you that all of them will come back, or none of them will return alive. If a family of 6, maybe 4 or 5 will be killed. One person will come back with various degrees of injuries. Unprovoked. You can't tell me you have not seen videos of a Fulani herdsman cutting people's cassava, cutting people's corn, throwing it for the cows, people's groundnut. Some of those videos are here. They are emanated here in Benue State. But when we talk, the best we are told is we rustle their cows, we rustle their cows. We're not that bad people. We've always lived with people. We've always lived with these Fulani people for so long. How did it get to this point?
It's interesting. I was just going to say that now let's go back to what the president said, because the reason I'm talking about this, in the past we've seen a president come out to say that, they know the people that are attacking and that are the perpetrators of this evil. They even know the financiers of these people, right? If you were to be put in the position of the president, and you had the capacity to take a decision, what do you think would have been the most appropriate, and the most strategic decision that you would have taken if you were to be the president? Because when I saw that video where the president was talking about, we must set things aside, we must whatever, and, we
must live together.
Live together.
We must live together. Should we live together with our attackers?
So
why should we live together with our attackers?
I'm a bit taken aback that, do you think you really have clarity as to what is going on and how you should approach this thing? Because if somebody is coming to your home and the person is coming with all sorts of weapons to attack you, is that the kind of statement you would give at that time? So I just want you to put yourself in the shoes of our president. What would you have done differently today when you visited Benue State?
Let me say this narrative before I answer that question. See, I have utmost respect till I die I have utmost respect for President Goodluck Jonathan. He made a statement during the campaign. He said, nobody's life or nobody's blood is worth his victory or is worth dying for in this election. He willingly accepted the results and he stepped aside. Whatever is happening today is fueled by politics. Most of the actors, in quote, not all, most of the actors are trying to be politically correct. Don't forget, 2027 is by the corner. It depends on how you speak up in public. Choose your words carefully. You will get your votes. You will lose your votes. If I was the president in his today's visit, like he's always saying, he's having a briefing with his security chiefs, I will have that briefing with the security chiefs. I will tell people in Benue, we're going to be having a robust meeting, and within a week or two, we'll see real-time actions. If you can't say what we're expecting you to say in public. Because for me, I even told my friends when I was in that hall that what I know or what I've told people around amongst ourselves here, my president will not echo it in public. Because like somebody will say, Ukan, I know you are passionate about this country. I know how bad you feel. I know how you've seen pictures, you've packed dead bodies in the past with the mortuary, children, everything. But I can tell you, the problem is 10 times bigger than you or any other person, and you will not come to the public if you are a leader of this country and say the things that you want to see. Why are Nigerians depending on foreign news to tell us the truth about what is happening in our country? Al Jazeera will get somebody to speak to them. The person will speak and open up. BBC, CNN. But when you put those same people within the confines of this country, they find it difficult to discuss. Do you know that everything I've said, and because I've been striving to say the truth, not mincing my words, do you know my life is at risk? Because people say I am profiling an ethnic group. People that I know that are killing my people. I should be mincing my words and calling them criminals and bandits. No, why should I? These are terrorists, for crying out loud. These are real-time terrorists. How much did IPOB do before IPOB was classified as a terrorist organization? I'm not a security or expert, so I don't know. But as a layman, I'm asking, how much did they do before they were, before they were proscribed as a terrorist organization? A village just by the roadside. Yelwata is when you're going to Abuja or when you're coming into Makudi. It's just 2 sides of the road. That's how Yelwata is. 200 plus people. I can tell you that some people are still in the bush, rotting there. They have not even found them to ascertain the number correctly. And then you tell me that these guys are not terrorists? Come on, this is genocide. Or do they want us to equal the records in Rwanda before we start telling people that this is genocide? If I was the president, I would give a definite instruction to my service chiefs. And let's start seeing action. Let's start seeing action.
Okay. Somebody is saying, Alex Tier says, Ukan, talk am as you see am o. Say make you talk am.
They talk am o.
No, they talk go corner. But it's such a sad situation. I feel very drained emotionally, But let me ask you, what do you think we can do, right, as general citizens? What should we start to intentionally do? One of the things that I love, that I saw a lot of people do, was they spoke up. A lot of celebrities, a lot of big music artists. I think I saw Nathaniel Bassey. Like, different people actually came out and they spoke up. And I'm sure that that was also part of why the president felt that pressure to go to to visit Benue State. But in your own, in your own words, how much more do you think we can do as a people so that we can, it's one thing for the government to misbehave. It's another thing for them to misbehave unchecked. And I believe that the office of the citizen, we are supposed to, occupy that office and really take on that role of holding them accountable, right, and holding them to their words. I mean, you are in government. I mean, I'm saying that our leaders, they are in government, and their role is, first of all, to protect lives and properties, right? That's their number one primary assignment. So as a people, what more do you think we should start to intentionally do? Because I say it all the time, what affects one affects all. It's not a thing of, it is Benue State is far away, but it is everywhere right now. So how do you think we can become a lot more engaged, to get the government to do the right thing?
See, one thing I know about Nigerians is we are laid back so much. And lately, the kind of Nigeria we agitated for was to stand up to the faces of our leaders and tell them the truth, no matter how painful it may seem. And now, the best way we've been agitating for what we want or for the right thing to be done is using the social media. Using the media, paper houses, journalists, like what you're doing here, to put pressure on these people. Do you know? Go to Twitter, go to X, see what is trending in the last 6 days. Benue killings. When people like Inyanya are doing, a piece of condolence songs for Benue State, people like Macaroni, artists in the US, are carrying placards and talking about stop Benue killings. You think the government is not feeling the pressure? Or is it the protest we do every day? At the end of the day, we get 2-3 people shot. That's not just its only solution. We have to keep talking. We have to let our voice go far. We have to keep agitating, using the best or whatsoever platform we feel we can use to let these people know that we know what they are doing. And let me tell you, with everything that is happening, no politician, quote me anywhere, no politician is sitting properly because they know that this term will teach them a lesson in 2027. It's either you do what we want now, or you wake the dead bodies you never cared about that have been buried in shallow graves, buried in mass graves, to come and vote for you. Because on that day, we will remind everybody.
Thank you so much. So on that note, I just want to say thank you. And again, please stay safe. We're hoping that, certain kinds of, what's it called, results will start to, we'll start to see some results from the president's visit, hopefully. But thank you so much for your time, Ukan.
Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to say that today it's, as always, whenever I talk about these things, it's really heartbreaking. It's not something that anybody wishes for. If you've ever been in a situation where people actually are unalived in your presence or attacked or burnt or, slaughtered or whatever, you would understand, you would understand how very devastating and, emotionally damaging that picture can be. Beyond talking tough, I want to say to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this is not the time to talk tough. Other past presidents, they have said all the things that you've said today, and yet we did not see any difference. What are you going to do differently, to really bring you ran your campaign under renewed hope. So what are you going to do differently to bring that hope to the people that, that are in your country? Because this is beyond Benue State, it's everywhere. The amount of bracing audacity some of these terrorists and bandits and all these people have, to perpetrate evil in this country, right? It just seems like we are a people that is lawless. We are a people that, we don't have laws. And, and that is why sometimes when we try to speak to certain actions, that we see happening around government offices and all of that, and people around the corridors of power, we're not speaking to the person, the individual. We're speaking to ensure that the system, is not completely weakened by impunity. Because the more we do not obey the rule of law, the more we do not think that it is important to be, to be accountable, to have integrity in leadership and all of that, the more it weakens the entire fabric of this nation. And these are the results that we begin to see, where people can come from anywhere and do as they please, unalive people, and, nothing is done. Because beyond all of this talking tough, Who are the people that have been arrested? I am sure if I, Uwa, said anything bad about the president today, or I said anything bad about a prominent person in Nigeria, I'll be picked up with immediate effect. Like, as I'm coming out of this studio, some people are waiting for me to be picked up. That is how it is. So how is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult for us to find people that are actually going about with weapons and unaliving people and displacing them from their communities? So please, to show us that you are not just talking tough, that you are actually here to bring that hope and solve the challenges, the security challenges that we have in this country, can we start to see results? Can we start to see arrests? Can we start to see people being named and shamed? Like, can we start to see serious people being indicted in these, senseless killings that have been happening in our nation over the years? I'll leave it here. Thank you again to our guests for joining me this evening. Thank you to the audience. Thank you for your comments. Also on YouTube, thank you. Keep the comments going and keep sharing the links. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's at Official Upgrade TV. You can interact with us further. You can drop a comment. And most importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Please, if you missed our quote, this is a quote from our president. It says, "We cannot do without one another. I propose we immediately form a leadership committee to convene in Abuja and develop a strategy for lasting peace. I am prepared to invest in that peace." I want to say to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, instead of convening this leadership, right, this leadership committee, why, instead of convening it in Abuja, why don't you convene it in Benue State, where the thing is actually happening? So by the time they are there, they would ensure that the security, architecture is, is strengthened in the state. Let's not do everything in Abuja. Let's start to move to the hotbeds and where people actually need help. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.